Now, it's my pleasure to welcome today's sponsor speaker from Orbits for Business, Frank Petito. Good luck, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm thrilled to be here today to introduce one of the true visionaries of our generation, Sir Richard Branson. I was actually scheduled to introduce Sir Richard last year, and I was really fired up because to me, Sir Richard is synonymous with innovation and the delivery of great customer experiences, topics that are near and dear to me. However, last year, Sir Richard couldn't be with us as he was busy trying to establish world peace. And I think we'd all agree that saving the world is probably one of the very few acceptable reasons to miss this conference. When we gathered here last year, we were in the middle of one of the worst recessions our economy and the travel industry had ever seen. At the time, we felt as if we were beginning to see the green shoots of recovery, and I certainly feel that this has continued. Now, what else of consequence has happened since we were last together at this great conference, and what does it mean to our industry? Firstly, Mother Nature threw us a few curveballs, including volcanic ash clouds over Iceland and most of Western Europe that impacted thousands of flights and tens of thousands of travelers. And then there was the Gulf Coast oil spill, perhaps the worst man-made disaster to hit the United States. But the good news is, the well appears to be capped thanks to the combined efforts of our government, BP, and if I understand the situation properly, some good old-fashioned mud that's plugging the hole. Now in sports, turn to the sporting world for a second, seems appropriate. Spain took home its first World Cup after an amazing run to the title game. So I don't know where they are, I think they're over there, but congratulations to our friends at Amadeus, who I expected some pretty serious celebrating. And perhaps they're still feeling the repercussions of the celebration. Now, sadly, George Steinbrenner passed away after returning the Yankees to their former glory. But the Yankees are currently in first place, and as a New Yorker, I hope this continues well into October. Now, at this time last year, the leaders of Wall Street investment banks were being chastened for their part in our country's financial woes, the global financial woes. But we were at the forefront of creating some systemic change to our financial system, and things were going to be different. But with short memories, we saw compensation on Wall Street hit record highs in 2009, and the recipients of these compensation were characteristically low-key about it, and therefore were reprimanded as the SEC started to hand out record fines for their past action. Also at this time last year, we were excited to see the Dow hit 9,000, and this year we've seen it hit highs of 11,000. Now, although there's been talk of a double-dip recession, I know we're all in agreement in hoping this isn't the case. And while I'm not an economist, but I am an optimist, I know things are improving. I feel good about it. In the travel industry, we're seeing strong rebounds on all fronts from 2009 levels. The stock performance of airlines, hotels, and online travel companies are well past their 2009 troughs and have significantly outperformed the Dow since last March. Let's hope this continues. And we've seen some great individual results. In the second quarter, Delta posted its best quarterly profit in a decade, JetBlue its highest ever operating income, and our hotel partners are seeing strong demand as corporate travel continues to rebound. At Orbits for Business, we just reported 39% growth in our gross bookings and 22% growth in our hotel transactions. Now, we're beginning to see more M&A activity. Late last year and into 2010, Delta and Northwest completed their integration, creating the world's largest airline. Continental and United, they appear to be all systems go in creating the world's second largest airline. And on the other extreme is Google's acquisition of ITA Software. Although many of us in the room are familiar with ITA, it's fair to say that most of the outside world was probably pretty surprised to see Google snap up a little-known company for $700 million. Now, there's some other trends in the technology space that are influencing travel. The most pervasive of which is the shift we're seeing in how individuals and businesses communicate and access the web. 10 years ago, some very smart people, such as this gentleman, thought that the future of mobile computing would be strapping a webcam to your forehead and a keyboard on your wrist. Thankfully, they were wrong. The accessibility and form factor of products like the iPhone have truly changed the game. And by the way, Apple has filed a patent for a travel product, so we should stay tuned on that. Now, according to a Morgan Stanley analyst, Murray Meeker, mobile internet users will outpace desktop internet users in the next 3 years. Others think it's going to happen sooner. Now, as I've seen many of us carrying multiple smartphones around this room, including some iPads, this surely doesn't feel like a stretch to me. Now, a related trend is the rise of social media. Companies like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn are a major part of our daily lives. In fact, I was shocked the other day to receive a friend request from my 9-year-old son. I've been too busy to accept it, but I suspect I ought to. Now, on travel sites, there are sites featuring social and collaborative tools. Some, like TripIt, are gaining traction. Others are more household names, like TripAdvisor. Now, here's a stat. I hope it's not overdone or trite, and I'm sure many of you have seen this. But to make a quick point of comparison on the scale of social media, let's look at some of the largest nations in the world. China, 1.3 billion. India, 1.2 billion. The US, 310 million. Facebook, 500 million users. Who knew that? More individuals than the populations of most developed countries. And Facebook's not a toy or a fad. They're making serious money right now. And if rumors are true, this will be a huge IPO on the horizon. Perhaps a $20 billion IPO, 2011, 2012, but it's the real deal. This is not bad for a 25-year-old CEO. Now, with the growth of social networks and travel sites, we're seeing a new channel of influence in the online travel space. According to Focusrite, more than 80% of online travelers visited a social network in the same month they booked travel. And according to another recent survey, more than half of the mid-sized companies are already using social media to support their business travel management needs. People in the travel sector, us, we've been on the front edge of this trend. JetBlue, 1.6 million Twitter followers. Southwest, 900 Facebook fans. So what do these trends mean for corporate travel? In my opinion, when it comes down to being a successful TMC, you've got to do two things really, really well. The first is providing travel managers, CFOs, and their companies with the very best tools to deliver powerful analytics, to optimize travel spend and drive cost savings, to provide security for their travelers, and to integrate world-class expense management and compliance tools. As with NBTA's recent announcement about their globalization, you also need to be able to service global needs of your customers. And this is consistent with our announcement this week of integrating with IBM's Global Expense Reporting solution. In addition to working with ExpenseWire, this enables us to provide flexibility and choice in managing and reporting travel expenses, something that I think we all need to be focused on in 2011 and beyond, and there's others who do this. Concur, they do a great job of it. Another important area that comes to light in corporate travel these days is security, keeping their employees safe. During the volcanic eruptions earlier in the year, we would send out automated reports, care reports, to our traveler managers, telling them about disruptions caused by the volcano. We'd also notify them and help our travel managers quickly identify and communicate with their travelers, and ultimately, we would get them, help them rebook their travelers so they could get home safely to their families. But delivering cost savings, integrating expense management, providing deep analytical tools, and promoting secure travel, that's the price of playing poker. You have to be able to deliver these attributes to get a seat at the table. Now, the second thing TMCs need to do well is serve the individual travelers in an increasingly traveler-centric world. Today's corporate travelers aren't willing to accept a second-tier service or travel experience. They want tools comparable to those that they choose to use for their leisure travel experience. This was the case when OFB launched in 2002, and it's certainly the case today. As our new consumer ad campaigns, when you orbits, you know. Now, with that in mind, we take many of the great features used by our leisure customers and integrate them into Orbits for Business. So consistent with this, yesterday, and given some of the converging trends we talked about earlier, we think that TMCs need to explore new opportunities with consumer and social media technologies to see how they can continue to improve on the business travel experience. Yesterday, we talked about a strategic partnership with TripIt that we believe will enhance the traveler experience. And if you want a demo, drop by our booth. I'm pretty certain we're still the only one with a hovercraft outside. Now, in short, we're committed to delivering innovation and great customer experience to our traveler partners while delivering great experience to their travelers.